New parents are kind of prepared in theory for the sleep deprivation that getting poor sleep negatively impacts everything for you and your baby.
Hello, everyone. You're listening to Baby Steps, sponsored by Oxford and Soho Baby, a podcast dedicated to exploring the personal and emotional journeys of parenting. I'm your host. My name is Medea. Today I have Chrissy, pediatric sleep consultant and licensed marriage and family therapist and mother of four. Chrissy, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited too. Let's get right into it.
Yeah.
So, what are some of the most common sleep challenges parents face in the first year of a baby's life?
When a baby is born, they are so neurologically immature. So they do not have a developed circadian rhythm. They don't have a developed sleep system yet. And so we know that babies don't come out sleeping well. New parents are kind of prepared in theory for the sleep deprivation that having a new baby comes with. But the reality of that sleep deprivation, I think, takes a way bigger toll on parents than we even realize because sleep impacts literally every single aspect of your physical and mental health and your relationships and your job performance and your connection with your baby. And so I think that's the biggest challenge is like I have this baby. I knew I wouldn't sleep perfectly, but I had no idea how hard it would be.
So, the baby's not sleeping, the parent's not sleeping. Everybody's cranky.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, and our mental health suffers really, really, really quickly. And so what I see a lot in my clinical work and my work with Peaceful Sleeper is that we have these moms, and I was one of these moms. Like I wanted to be a mom my whole entire life. It was a dream come true, and I loved my baby so much and I wasn't thriving. And then I felt really, really guilty about that. And then because I'm the type A perfectionist, I kind of blamed myself. Like, okay, I guess I suck at this. I don't know what I'm doing. Why am I not happy? I should be happy. I'm feeling inadequate. And then it just kind of snowballs. And when you realize like the faster that you can get good quality sleep, everything else in your parenting journey improves and your baby also thrives.
Yeah, and realizing that you're not alone in it.
Yes.
Everybody goes through this, but you think, oh, I'm the worst parent. I'm doing something wrong, but everybody's going through it too.
Yep, exactly.
How can parents tell the difference between normal sleep patterns and a true sleep issue?
Yeah, that's a great question because it's so hard. Everybody kind of talks about baby sleep and we brag about how well our babies are sleeping. And sometimes sleep consultants can come out with this really unrealistic expectation. Or, you hear about the unicorn babies that are just such wonderful sleepers, and then you think you must be wrong. So, the first 6 to 12 weeks, it's totally normal to still be waking up every 2 or 3 hours to eat in the middle of the night in a perfect world with our easy temperament babies that don't have gas, reflux, lip, tongue tie, if they don't have anything physiologically kind of in the way or neurologically in the way, you can absolutely get 6 to 8 hours of stretches by 6 to 8 weeks. But that kind of falls into the lucky category of like you have a baby that just neurologically is very typical, biologically very typical, plus an easy temperament. Um, so there's a little bit of like rolling the dice. We don't know how our babies are going to come out. And I always want parents to know that you are doing just fine. You are new at this. Your baby is new at this. You will figure it out together. By 4 or 5 months, typically we should only be seeing one middle of the night feeding. And then, beyond that, typically by 6 or 7 months, most babies will drop a feeding or can drop a feeding. If you're seeing lots of frequent night awakenings, even after the 3 or 4 month period, that's definitely a sign that we could do some intervention to help this get better.
Okay, so it's normal for them to wake up a few times in the night in the beginning, but then later on, if that keeps happening, there's an issue.
Yeah, and also by about 6 weeks, even if baby's waking up in the middle of the night to eat, they should eat and go right back to sleep. If we're having long distressed periods in the middle of the night, we can intervene there. And it should take only about 5 to 10 minutes to rock a baby to sleep. If we're in a situation where, you know, it's taking 30 minutes of bouncing on a yoga ball in order to get a nap to happen, that's an instance where we can get more support to improve that too. So, yeah, 5 to 10 minutes in order to fall asleep. It's typical to nap for about 30, 45 minutes and then need help to connect the second nap cycle in the newborn phase. But after 4 months, we should be seeing predictable naps lasting at least an hour, only one nighttime awakening, and a baby that's relatively happy and content day and night.
So what kind of support would you give? Let's say it takes like 40 minutes for them to fall asleep. What would you do in that situation?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would probably have a lot of follow-up questions. I would be curious about developmental milestones, comfort, gas, reflux, lip tie, tongue tie. Like, is there a reason that we can pinpoint why baby can't get comfortable? Or is there a reason that we can pinpoint why baby can't downregulate even with support? Sometimes that's overtiredness. So we might shift the schedule to help be a little bit more conducive for falling asleep more quickly. But usually it's going to be overtiredness, some kind of physiological pain, or something else neurologically that's making it harder for baby to soothe. So, a lot of what I do, because I do have this clinical background, is kind of working with families to tailor strategies and solutions. And I've worked with thousands of babies at this point. And so I can be kind of that person that you can bounce ideas off of. And I can tell parents, like, this is pretty typical. Here's what we need to do. Or, like, ugh, this is atypical. This is trickier than it should be, quote unquote. And what are we going to do about it that's developmentally appropriate for your child and the difficulties that they're presenting with?
Cool. So it starts with questions, asking them
Absolutely.
questions, dissecting, figuring out, okay, what's the root of it?
Absolutely. And that's one of my biggest maybe qualms with the sleep consulting space is a lot of people are out here kind of giving their one size fits all advice, and that just doesn't fit for every single baby. And then it makes parents end up feeling like they're failing or offering strategies and interventions that don't actually align for that baby. And so my goal is to work with parents so that they can be empowered. We can bring in their gut instinct, the information they have about their baby, plus my expertise, so that we can figure out a path together that's going to be the best fit for that individual baby.
Okay. Yeah, every baby is different.
Yes.
So you have to work with the parent and come up with a specific solution just for them.
Yes, yeah, and we follow a framework, but I would say it's the same as nutrition or exercise. Like, you probably have a different way of getting optimal nutrition than I do. You probably have a different way of exercising than I do. The principle is we want well-rounded, balanced nutrition. Great. How you get there doesn't matter as long as you get there. With exercise, it's like, are you having fun? Are you enjoying yourself? Is your body moving? Is it becoming stronger? Fantastic. Like, I don't have to fight with you about whether riding a bike or running or swimming or weightlifting is the better version of exercise. Like, it's what works for you. We just need to get there. And so, yes, we can follow a framework, but it should always be tailored to the individual.
That's so true. Yeah, which makes it difficult because everyone is so different. You can't just be like, oh, well, this worked for this person, so it'll work for you. It
Mhm.
probably takes so much time to come up with a solution for each baby.
It's I would say yes and no, because when you know what you're looking for, it can become actually really easy. And there's, a handful of tricks that you can have up your sleeve. So it's just a matter of kind of discerning what's going to be right for this baby based on the information that we have. And that's kind of what I try to teach in my courses and my book is here's what to look for to know your next best step for your child. It doesn't actually have to be that complicated and intense.
Okay, for me, I'm thinking I'm like, oh my God, this is so complicated, but but for you, yeah, you've seen
Yeah.
so many babies, so that makes
Yep.
sense.
Yeah, yeah. And I just want parents to feel empowered and realize like you're doing a great job. You're going to figure it out. Your baby's going to figure it out. You're in this learning together.
Hmm. What sleep training approaches do you find most effective and why?
Yeah, good question. So, there can be a lot of noise in the space around baby sleep, a lot of misinformation. At the Peaceful Sleeper, we say that there are four great ways that you can sleep train a baby. Sleep training, meaning teaching the skill of independent sleep initiation and maintenance. Can my baby fall asleep on their own and stay asleep on their own eventually? So we have a more accelerated approach, a modified accelerated approach. That's what I call our 10-minute method. We have modified, and we have gentle. So if somebody wants to be co-sleeping, if they don't ever want to allow any room for independent protest, you can sleep train your baby that way. You can slowly but surely get better sleep patterns for your child and slowly work towards independent sleep initiation and maintenance. We find in the literally thousands of babies that we've worked with that our 10-minute method works for about 85% of babies. So we set a good foundation. We help support optimal sleep. Once they are developmentally ready, around 4 or 5 months, then we do a series of 10-minute timers that are very intentional. They're very engaged. It's not just crying for the sake of crying. We're giving 10 minutes of space and time, but we're also watching for babies' cues to know what can you tolerate? Are you learning? And do we need longer timers or shorter timers, or are we at the sweet spot? So about 85% of babies are really going to thrive with the 10-minute method. I would say the other 7% are going to be more of like the modified. So that's where we're looking at 5 to 7 minute timers. Like you do well with some space and time, but too much or for too long pushes you out of your window of tolerance and makes us backfire. And then I would say a very small percentage, less than 5% of babies are really going to do better with like a full extinction, crying for up to an hour. And I would say also a very small amount of babies genuinely are thriving better fully co-sleeping. Or, you know, if we're fully co-sleeping and we're not worried at all about independent sleep initiation and maintenance until maybe 18 months or age 2, then co-sleeping is great. It can be harder to get full independent initiation and maintenance with the gentle method, but for a small percentage of babies, that's absolutely the right approach, especially if there is some neurodivergence, if we've got deeply feeling kids, if we've got high sensory kids. It just every child is different.
Hmm. So, what does it mean by 10-minute timers? Like, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, so we set the foundation. We have a baby that is sleeping well with support. And then once they're 4 or 5 months old, then you'll do your nice, loving, warm bedtime routine. You'll plop them in the crib after you have fed them, put them in calm but awake, leave, set a 10-minute timer. And then there's three things that we're looking for during that timer. We are looking for any attempt that baby has of self-soothing. Are they sucking a thumb, chewing on their hands, wiggling around, trying to roll? Are they playing with a sleep sack? Are they doing something trying to calm themselves down? Or are they just like fists clenched, red faced, screaming bloody murder? The latter means like this might not be the right approach for this kid. But if they're making good progress, then great. This is productive learning. The second thing that we're looking for is variability. Maybe they start out crying at like a level 4 and then they get mad and they jump to an 8 and then back down to a 4, 3, 6, 5. Are they vacillating? Are they having periods where they are successfully calming themselves down, even if they're still making noise? Or again, are they level 10 screaming bloody murder, at the verge of throwing up? Like, if that's where we're at, then this isn't the right intervention for them. They're not handling it well. And then the third thing that we're looking for is after the 10-minute timer, how well do they calm down in your arms? So we have some babies where maybe they were crying really loud. They were super pissed. And then you go in, they're immediately calm. They're regulated. They're not breathing hard. They don't have tears. They don't have snot. They're not overheating. They're just like, oh, it's about time you came back. Now I'm calm. That's a baby that's handling this intervention much better than a baby that won't even calm down in your arms because they were just crying for 10 minutes. So if a baby's crying for 10 minutes, their fists clenched, screaming bloody murder, maybe they're going to puke. You can't get them calm even in your arms because they got so upset. 10-minute method is not the right choice for your baby. We either need to go back to a more gentle approach or maybe we need to try a 5-minute timer. And so as long as baby's handling 10 minutes well and it's productive, then we repeat that 10-minute timer only 5 times. So
Oh, okay.
I think sleep training of the past was, you'd hear these success stories of a baby that cried for like 3 hours the first night, but only 2 hours the second night. And that's just way too long. Nobody needs to have a baby cry for 3 hours. Um, we're also not doing much crying in the middle of the night. I think that's another misconception is that cry it out is to drop a middle of the night feeding and you just surprise, don't go in and feed your baby. And that's not what we're talking about either. We're giving a 10-minute timer in the middle of the night to make sure you're actually awake, you're hungry, and then I'm going to go feed you and we're both going to go right back to sleep. So it's a systematic framework of giving some space and time as baby is tolerating it so that they can learn some independence. And this is going to be your framework for literally every aspect of parenting. When your child is learning how to walk, learning how to ride a bike, doing their math homework, struggling with friends, there's always going to be a period of like, let me hang back. I'll support you. Say like, thumbs up, you got it. I believe in you. Oh, wait, you need help? Okay, then I can come and help you and support you. But it's actually really good for us to know that we believe in our kids. Our kids know that we believe in you and we're going to give you some space and time to figure it out. And if you got it, then fantastic. And if you don't got it, then I'm here to help you.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, your baby will tell you what works and what doesn't work. You just have to
Yes,
listen and watch.
yes, yes.
Yeah. Wow, that's really cool.
Thank you.
I want to move on to the licensed marriage and family therapist side.
Yeah.
So, what is this is maybe a hard question, but what is the number one issue you see with couples?
Yeah, I would say, because I've been a practicing therapist for 15 years, I work with women and couples and families kind of all throughout the life course. But I really think if there's one thing that I wish people would be mindful of, it's not losing yourself or losing your relationship because you have a baby now. It's really, really, really easy to say, my baby comes first. I'll get back to me or I'll get back to us after they don't need so much anymore. And I want every family to know your child will always need so much. You cannot lose yourself in the process because it backfires. It is really, really good for kids to have healthy, thriving parents that are in a happy, healthy relationship. When we don't nurture our relationship, it doesn't stay strong. And so I see a lot of families and a lot of mothers who had all the best intentions slowly lose themselves along the way. And the result is a lot of anger, a lot of resentment, some really poor attachment behaviors later on. We talk so much about sleep training and does it damage attachment? And I always want my child to know that I'm there for them. And I will tell you, I see all the time the mom that's swearing at her teenager, calling her names, saying things like, you are such a disappointment. And it's like, hey, that's way worse for attachment than 10 minutes of crying when they were 4 months old. Like, so what? You cannot let yourself run dry. You can't let your relationship run dry. It doesn't actually help your child. So it is possible to still slowly invest in yourself, slowly invest in your relationship, and be investing in your kids. Kids thrive when their parents are doing well in their relationship or just on their own. And so it really is like a whole family system thing.
How do you recommend people invest in their relationship?
I think it's early and often, just like any other kind of investment. Like we spent time in graduate school and early in careers where we didn't have any extra money, but it's like, all right, $5 a month into our investment account makes a difference over time. The same with a retirement account. Like if you just tell yourself, I'll invest later when I have more money, you might not. You're not going to have as much in that retirement account as if you invested $2 or $5 here and there. So I actually think sleep training can be a really powerful way to invest in your relationship because then you get your evenings back with your partner. Baby goes to bed at 7 o'clock and you maybe have 2 or 3 hours to unwind together, hang out, watch a show, cuddle, chat. If you have baby sleeping in their own space, you're not as touched out, as overwhelmed. You're not running ragged at the end of the day. You maybe have a little bit more bandwidth and energy to connect on an intimate level, whether that's sexual intimacy or non-sexual intimacy. Quality time, I think, is really important. It doesn't have to be hire a babysitter and go out on a date. I do think that's really important, but it can also be like, baby's down for the night. Let's grab a sparkling water and sit out on the balcony and we'll chat for 5 minutes. My kind of general rule of thumb, once kids are maybe a little bit older and we don't have a breastfeeding mom that is hard to leave a kid, I think one date night every month, a weekend every 6 months, and sorry, a an overnight every 6 months, and a weekend once a year. It is so incredibly powerful to go to dinner, have an overnight with your partner, sleep in, have breakfast, go pick up your baby. And I say this like, we were in school, we were young, struggling, like did not have money, and we still made that happen because we swapped with friends. And
Mm.
so find a friend with the same age baby and say, we'll do this weekend. Do you guys want to do next weekend? And we made it happen. And then we dropped off our baby at her little baby best friend's house with my best friend who I knew was going to take great care of her. We made dinner at home. We put a fort of cushions from the couch in the living room. We watched a movie. We slept in. We had cereal for breakfast and we went and picked up our child. It was a completely free or less than $20 for this overnight. So I think a lot of people make excuses. We don't have time, we don't have money, we don't have people that we can trust. You can make the time, you can do things cheap. And if you don't have people you trust, that is a solvable problem. Go out and build your village, find people that you trust.
It's important to ask for help.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. People are
Yeah.
scared to ask for help, being like, no, I want to do it all on my own.
Yeah.
But you need people. You need a village, a community to help you.
Yeah.
But
100%.
yes, investing in your relationship. So many parents forget to do that, and then they have so many issues down the road.
Yep.
Yeah. Final question. What's your advice for parents listening right now?
Prioritize your sleep. However old your baby is, if you have kids, if you don't have kids, if whatever it is, your sleep is the biggest modifiable determinant of your mental and physical health. Getting good sleep positively impacts everything. Getting poor sleep negatively impacts everything for you and your baby. So remember, keep in mind, getting good sleep is important. How you get there does not matter as long as you get there. So if your baby is not sleeping well, if you are not sleeping well, reach out, find resources, read a book, get an app, listen to a podcast, hire a sleep consultant. It can get better. It is possible to get better sleep for you and your child. And it's really, really, really important that you do so. Getting good quality sleep is the most modifiable determinant of your physical and mental health. Good quality sleep impacts every single cell in your body, every single function of your life. And so invest in your good sleep, your baby's good sleep. It will make your family system stronger.
Yeah, if you're not getting good sleep, every part of your life is messed up and upside down.
Yep, it's true. And the data tells us that good quality sleep is critically important.
Amazing. That's all we have for today. Listeners, thank you for tuning in. Chrissy, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. You've been listening to Baby Steps, sponsored by Oxford and Soho Baby. Have a great rest of your day, everyone.
You've been listening to Baby Steps, sponsored by Oxford and Soho Baby. If you're in the market for a new crib, glider, dresser, or more, we'd love for you to check out our line of furniture. Head over to oxfordbabyandkids.com or sohobaby.com. All links are within the show notes. For more information as a listener, enter the code PODCAST10 for 10% off your total purchase, plus free shipping on all orders over $799. Thanks for listening and tune into our next episode. Bye for now, and remember, every step is a step towards progress. We hope today's story gives you the confidence and the assurance that every journey is different, but we do it together.